And then I'm testing my skills against real attackers. I've trained karate my whole life, but this is not about fighting. It's about surviving. My day begins at Operation Blackside, a tactical facility in a secret location.
All right, are you ready? Well, let's give me a shot. If he dies, he dies.
And that's my instructor, Navy SEAL fighting expert.
What is the first thing I should know about fighting like a Navy SEAL? We should fight by concept and not by technique. So we need to make clarity out of chaos. You call yourself the karate nerd, right? I'm a nerdy Navy SEAL. Let's get perfect match. Perfect. So if you look at a molecule by itself, Jesse, it looks very random. If you look at the molecule as a group, you start to see patterns that emerge. So often in martial arts, a technique is taught in its singularity. What I love to do, Jesse, is see the things that are unanimous across the board. These things tend to work, and they make clarity in chaos. A throw, for instance. Okay. I come across with this elbow, and I throw, and I come. The next one, I come here like this. Another variation is I can go underneath the arm. Another variation is I have an underhook, and I can pressure in, I can drop underneath. Right? Most people say that's 4 different throws, but there's a pattern that emerges with the same footwork, a very similar focus, and the same lever. So in almost 4 different throws, there's an emerging pattern of a footwork, of a fulcrum, and a lever.
So you're focusing on these principles rather than individual techniques.
And make clarity in the chaos. So the first combat concept is bisecting lines are great for defense.
Bisecting lines?
Bisecting lines. A bisecting line is a plus sign. So I'm going to make any plus sign. Throw this at me. You throw that jab, that's a bisecting line. You throw the cross, throw the hook. That is another bisecting line. Kick my leg.
Okay.
There's another bisecting line. You can sit on this side. That's bisecting line, down block. And then I can reattack. So lay down real quick. And you're going to hit me. Bisecting line.
Yeah. Can you use them in offense as well?
That's a brilliant question. Fighting is getting your opponent's tools offline and getting your tools online. Let's actually don some gear so we can play a little bit. Let's make love. Sure, let's do that.
Right, yeah,
okay. Turns out,
Stop scrolling. These animals need a makeover. Welcome to Animal Hair Salon, where you
don some gear so we can play a little bit. Let's make love. Sure, let's do that.
Right, yeah, sure.
Turns out, Kenny prepared an instant lesson for me.
Okay.
Very soon, I will be tested on all of it.
Right. In the warrior mindset, there are no guarantees, but there are probabilities. And the greater probability for survivability is offense. So as quickly as possible, I need to go from reacting to acting and then make you react to me. Because Justin, let me ask you a question. What game can you win on defense? I'm not sure. You cannot lose. Exactly. You can only win through offense. Yeah. A fight is the same way. You feed me the hook. Catch, release. Catch and shoot. Catch and shoot. And now, catch and shoot. Pay attention. Stay vigilant. Stay vigilant. Yes, beautiful. Good, good, good. Again. It's beautiful. Yes.
So would that work as a bisecting line as well?
So we talked about emergent patterns, meaning you're able to predict what happens because you've seen the totality of it. We have a military term for that. That's called DOPE, data on previous engagements. So when we start to see emerging patterns, able to make clarity in the chaos. Now, if I do this bisecting line, this is something called the inside line. That means you have to deal with my other tools.
Right.
The outside line is any line that starts to move me towards
okay.
Throw the cross.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Throw the jab to the body. Throw a front kick. Yeah. Do you see? Yes. Even the tiger, one of the most some animals, the greatest predator, moves to the back and attacks its prey from the back. Because when I'm to the back, tools are offline. Right. All fighting is getting your tools online, so your tools are online, and my tools are offline. Can I block like this? Yes. But it doesn't hit another combat concept of going to the outside line. Let's move very quickly to the blade.
Wait, what was that?
Wait, we should catch this. Is it recording? Yeah. So there's 3 layers of training that I like to implement and execute, Jesse. Okay. The first layer of training is technical. Form facilitates function. So you need to have perfect form. Yeah. This is called peak performance. This is how you practice your forms. You try to execute the form. Your body mechanics must be flawless. So this gives us the optimal body mechanic, muscle recruitment, but then we need to transcend the technique. Yeah. Because the next thing that happens is the bad guy's adjusting and it's chaotic. You hurt yourself, you're tired, right? So the next level of training is tactical. Tactical is how you find the opportunity or create the opportunity to apply the technique. But it's messy. Yeah. So I have to find the opportunity in the messy chaos when someone's not cooperating with me.
Sounds difficult.
Yeah. The best way to get as good as possible, as fast as possible, is specific training. Put yourself in specific scenarios with combative chaos. And how we use those emergent patterns in that combative chaos, and you have to discover the opportunity for the technique. So you can learn that. That's the problem with some of the traditional martial arts are trained. Let's look at Tai Chi for a moment. What is this? They say that's Bushido. That's an arm drag. Oh, a double. Yeah. Tai Chi is a very effective martial art. Yeah. Okay. If you know what you're looking at, the translation, yes, and the way that it's trained, the methodology that it's trained. Let's look at this one, Jesse. Tai Chi, yeah, something like this. We'll just do kind of on the fly. Something like that. Yes. Throw the front cheek at me for me, please. It's cute. Yes. Do you see? Yeah. It's pretty cool. Do this in Muay Thai. If you feed that to me again, right? We catch, and we release. So the technique is there, Jesse. Yeah. But why do some of the traditional martial artists have trouble? Because they don't practice it under chaos and find the opportunity in the chaos. I'll give you one more. This is one you might appreciate. Yeah, I love this stuff. Yes, please. We're both nerds and martial arts. Yeah. So here's one. Ooh, yes. Okay. So this is not a back fist. Right. That's grounding. Yes. Okay. Are we ready? Okay. So I'm stepping in Kazushi. Right. Off balance. Yeah. Exactly. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So if you don't know, you thought that was a sidekick. Yes, you think it's back fist. Yeah. A sidekick. No, that would never work in the cage. Yes. Yeah. Actually, it would. Yeah. Yes. Kung Fu. Yes. Yeah. You grab my. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Do you see? Yeah. So now we're going to move on to the blade, Jesse. All right. Are you ready? So will this give me a shock? No promises. Yeah. So good. Yes. So we need three things: methodology, mindset, and metric.
Imagine the possibilities of sharing your life with a lovely young Asian lady. You could
three things: methodology, mindset, and metric. What is success or what is not? This gives us a quantifiable metric. Yeah, you ready, Jesse? Wait, what am I supposed to do? Now, you're going to defend yourself with the combat concepts that I gave you before. You don't know what I'm going to do now. Okay. Are you ready? Okay, let's try it. Yes? Okay. That's right. Good. Yes. You don't need to know specific techniques. They're helpful, but under stress, you often don't remember them. Yeah. But it's very easy for you to remember. Put up a bisecting line and get on offense as soon as possible. If you stab me this way and I do this bisecting line, I'm in front of the mouth of the tank. Do you see? Right. Now you feed me that. Now, better. I'm on the outside line. So now, any form of 2-on-1 grip. I don't care what. Go. So any 2-on-1. However, yes, any 2-on-1 grip. Okay, right now doesn't matter. Yes, beautiful. Good. Okay, you're going to do bisecting lines to defend, get any 2-on-1 grip, and then get to the outside line. Wait, say that one more time. It's a lot now. Yeah, bisecting lines. Okay, just bisecting lines. Yeah, just defend. Bisecting lines. Yeah. Now get a 2-on-1 grip somewhere in the chaos. Yes, get to the outside line. Okay. You see the three things we're doing? Yeah, three concepts combined. Are you ready? Oh, okay. Yes. Okay, play. Yes. Yes. That's right. Catch and release. Yes. Oh. Yes, get to it. Yes. Good. So in real life, probably won't happen on the first try. That's called peak performance when everything's perfect. Yeah. We train there because in battle, you fall to level your to optimal performance. Performance in a tactical sense, when you're trying to find clarity and chaos with the emerging concepts, is when you're doing the best with what you can. That's real life. That's sparring. It's not clean. So now we're going to deal with combative chaos on the ground in a weapons-based environment. Let's go ahead and lay down here. Now, the fundamental problem with jiu-jitsu, say you have the knife in this hand, and I do a 2-on-1 grip, okay? And I want to do it bar. Right. To deal with this blade, I go to do that. And by nature, let's take the knife out. You defend this. Don't let me break your arm. Yeah. You naturally bring your hands together. I do an Americano. Yeah. Defend that. Don't let me break it. You naturally bring your hands together. So now, I want to do jujitsu with a knife. With a knife. Can't put the knife in your hands. And you naturally grab it. And then you switch the hands. Yeah. And I no longer have control of the weapon bearing. So the first thing I will do, I will slide my shin, which is called a topside crucifix, and I will staple your arm.
Right. So you separated them.
Yes. Now I make contact and then separation.
Oh, okay.
If I fight you here, fight me here, you're really strong. Fight me here, I'm in trouble. So I push this overhead. Fight me here, fight me here, fight me here.
Yeah.
And now I've separated the hands and I have control of the weapon limb. So we're on the ground. Boom, and I draw this.
Right.
Your arm? Yes. And then I'm strong here. So push this over my head. Yes. I'll fight you. I'll fight you. Yes.
Do you see that? Yeah, because you're weak, you're in this position.
Yes.
Yeah.
The reason for that is what we call muscle recruitment. It's the hardest part of any range of motion. The squat is down here because the muscles are stretched out. I want to maximize my resources and minimize your resources. That's a broad stroke emerging concept. One of the things I want to maximize is my muscle recruitment and minimize your muscle recruitment. Yeah, so you're here in the bench press area with your chest, your lat, right? Yeah. And you're putting me here at the bottom of the pull-up.
Yeah.
Do you see? Yeah. Okay, so one more time.
Your shin on?
Yes, beautiful. Now here you created a lever. Yeah, so you figure forward it.
Right. Exactly.
Beautiful. That's good leverage.
Yeah.
Okay, let's switch position. So there's some instances where you can't separate the hands. The hell do we do? I trap your hand to the ground of the body. Okay, get the blade. Get the blade.
Just stuck.
Yes, please, I'll technically try. You're grabbing the blade. That doesn't work.
I have to grab the blade.
It can be on your body.
Yeah.
It can be on the mat. Okay, gain access to the blade. Go.
Yeah.
So I can start to separate the hands. Okay. That buys me time to get my body in position, either to increase probability, survivability, disengage, tactical disengage. Okay. So that's different than running away. You leave to re-engage on your terms.
Yes.
Okay. So what do I mean? Genghis Khan was really good at that. They would attack. They would hold the line, and then they would feign a retreat in the center, and they would chase them, and they would engulf them, surround them. Alexander the Great would do it differently. The Greeks would open the line, and they would let you attack down the middle, okay, and it would engulf you. So say you're on your back here. Yes. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to trap it. That buys me time, and I'll tactically disengage.
At what a better position.
Yes, I can come back on better terms. I don't want to compete with you.
Because it's not about scoring points.
No, it's for survivability.
Yeah.
Do you see? So at any point we're in a heated competition and I have the option to disengage, then I will disengage. Tactical disengage. That doesn't mean permanently. That means I'll come back to re-engage on better terms. We have a saying in the team, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. That just means gain the tactical advantage. So all fighting systems have that. Get to the outside line, remove the fallacies of grips. These are all ways to gain the tactical advantage where they can't win. So now we're just going to kind of test this. We like to say the hands feel. So they sort of drift down here.
Yeah.
It's time to actualize. Like, yes, here you go. Yeah. Okay, I'm just... See, let this head be free. Let this head be free. Now look at this. Yes, that's not bad. So go back here. Yeah. So you went to the mount.
Yes.
In a weapons-based environment, the mount is a dangerous position.
Really? Oh, yeah.
So I'm not choosing the mount in a weapons-based environment.
Interesting, because I would think, like, in MMA, people start grounding and pounding from the mount. It seems very effective. But against the blade, it might not be the best thing.
There's no weapons. You should always assume that it's a weapons-based environment. Because say you're feeding whatever lunch punches.
It's your boy Richard Sherman, and I'm here to rent some packs and check out box. See, I'm a Gen 1 guy. You can recognize a lot of these.
Go rip some packs on Box, the new digital way. And then you wait like 5 days and we mail it to your house.
Go check out box if you want to get right.
That it's a weapons-based environment. Because say you're feeding whatever lunch punches, I'm catching, releasing, getting the better of you. Feed me more, feed me. I'm getting the better. What do people do next? They grab. Yeah. I'm going to pummel here. This way. Yes. Okay. But we'll trade. Yes. Yes. The only problem is now it becomes a weapons-based engagement. Ooh. So go ahead and pummel with me. Okay. We're pummeling. And at some point, you access that blade. Whatever I want. Yes, when you choose, okay, yes. And the reality, Jesse, you're probably going to get touched a few times and then realize it. It's just the reality. We try to mitigate that as much as possible. If you do get cut, if you have any advice, like mindset-wise, the key word is until. That's the mindset of a warrior. Until. I keep fighting until I am too tired to fight, until I'm out. I keep fighting until I'm out of the fight. I keep fighting until I'm free. I keep fighting until I'm victorious. The key word is until. Yeah. Do you see the mindset? Until it instills hope. Yes. It instills an indomitable spirit, which is one of the tenets of traditional martial arts. So now I'm going to do it. Are you ready? Now I have an overhook. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're looking for it. I can't find it. What do you change to? Bisecting lines. Bisecting, yes. Bisect. Yes, there you go. Yay. Well, Jesse, your last level of training today is tenacity. Your mission, if you choose to accept, is we're going to send you through an obstacle course, and you're going to have 3 evolutions where you engage with what we call OP4, the oppositional force, applying these techniques, tactics, and procedures. And you have to do them while you're tired. You're going to have a mission, what we call an FTX, a field training exercise. Do you accept? Let's do it. That was a lot of material to cover in like a very short amount of time. My head hurts. But now we're gonna test my tenacity, my spirit, my fighting spirit. One thing that Kenny said that stood out was until. So I'm just gonna keep that in mind during the obstacle course, like whatever happens. And I've never even done an obstacle course in my life. I guess you jump over things and run over them. And I think somebody's gonna attack me at the obstacle course, but it ain't over until it's over. Until. That's the key word. Jesse, welcome to the O course. Your mission that you've chosen to accept is 3 iterations of the O course. You will also engage a mystery combative. You're going to use the combat tactics and the combat concepts that you've learned to create clarity out of chaos. At iteration 1, you'll catch and shoot, get a 2-on-1 to the outside line. Iteration 2, you'll pummel and you'll solve an overhook and an underhook. See? You're going to put them all together. Eat the final boss, or perhaps your maker. I have no choice. I've come too far to give up now. You have. I have one surprise for you, Jesse. Will you undo the latches for me, please? Wow, what is it? Open. Okay. Whoa! Now, Jesse, we go to war. Oh my God. Okay, this is for real. Okay. Do you still choose to accept the final FTX, your mission? I do. Let's go to war. All right. See you out there. Okay. Good luck.
And so, it's finally time to test my skills. I'm off to a good start using the rope. But then, everything changes. I'm stuck, and I'm not getting anywhere. Finally, I find a rhythm and keep moving. Then comes another rope. My grip is failing. I have long legs. Now it's time to fight.
Hey, Catch a shoot. Say shoot.
Seems stuck on a really tricky book. Add to codex with all the right context, like logs and bug reports. Codex makes the code base, makes scripts, and zeroes in on why the code is broken. Instead of having a really fast teammate that's debugging by my side. I'd Once it finds the root cause, I'll ask for a fix and close out the issue.
Last one down by Smelters. Let's go. Come in. It's a credit card when you got a crank. Everyone was buying the houses. Meet me at the lift. Done. It's us. Traveling skis. Traveling lives. Oh, stuff. Yes. I can have to be. But inside, you're already blind. Yes. It's time. Ultra's on deck again. Fine. Jazz.
Spitting
Jazz. Kid. Mission success. Move to the next obstacle. Luckily for me, I am not scared of heights. Because this thing is huge. And that's what she said. Let's go, Jesse. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, Jesse. I can see another rope in the distance. I gotta make it to the other side. Out forward. Engage. Forward. Come to an outside line with 12-1. Let's engage. Also, I'm good. Yeah, I'm doing it.
Damn.
Mission complete.
One hit.
In that iteration, the opponent had an overhook. Just can't clear up. He will go across and do an arm drag and fight to the outside line. What he ended up doing was extrapolating that arm, which is very difficult to do, not to sit down and fought to the outside line. Went from perfection, which is peak performance, to protection, which is outcome performance when it gets crazy and make clarity in the chaos. He made the concepts work and made it happen. That's how it goes in the real world. Let's get it.
I am so close to the finish line, I can smell victory. But first, I gotta get through a couple of more hurdles and one last rope. This is so tough for my grip strength. And my legs are killing me. But now it's time to fight. No?
Kenny?
I'm the final boss.
Finish my second laps. Work.
Let's go, Jess. Let's go. Yes. Oh. Work to the outside. Let's go. Let's go. Catch and shoot. Catch and shoot. Yes. Catch and shoot to the outside line. Let's go. To the outside line.
What? I'm not even close to that motherfucker.
Follow. Top. Isolated. Not the mount. You passed the test. Come on, baby. I can feel my legs. Jesse, beautiful work. My mouth is so dry.
You took the mission, you passed the mission. That being said, Jesse, I have something for you a little bit later. But right now, okay, whenever we train, you should take one thing away from each training session that made you harder to kill. Tell me one thing you took away from the training.
Until. One thing I've noticed about football fans is they all talk, while the players can actually hear them.
Really hard to absorb these things. Go Rin no Sho, The Book of Five Rings, by Miyamoto Musashi. Introduction. I have been many years training in the way of strategy, called Niten Ichi Ryu, and now I think I'll explain it in writing for the first time. It is now during the first 10 days of the 10th month in the 20th year of Kanai, 1645. I have climbed Mountain Iwato of Higo in Kyushu to pay homage to heaven, pray to Kwannon, and kneel before Buddha. I am a warrior of Harima Province, Shinmen Musashi no Kami Fujiwara no Geshin, aged 60 years. From youth, my heart has been inclined towards the way of strategy. My first duel was when I was 13. I struck down a strategist of the Shinto school, one Arima Kae. When I was 16, I struck down an able strategist, Tadashima Akiyama. When I was 21, I went up to the capital and I met all manner of strategists, never once failing to win in many contests. After that, I went from province to province, dueling with strategists of various schools, and not once failed to win, even though I had as many as 16 counters. This was between the ages of 13 and 28, or 29. When I reached 30, I looked back on my past. The previous victories were not due to my having mastered strategy. Perhaps it was natural ability, or the order of heaven, or that other schools' strategy was inferior. After that, I studied morning and evening, searching for the principle, and I came to realize the way of strategy when I was 50. Since then, I have lived without following any particular way. Thus, with the virtue of strategy, I practice many arts and abilities, all things with no teacher. To write this book, I did not use the law of Buddha, the teachings of Confucius, neither old war chronicles nor books on martial tactics. I take up my brush to explain the true spirit of this Ichi school, as it is mirrored in the way of heaven and Kwannon. The time is the night of the 10th day of the 10th month, at the hour of the tiger, 3 to 5 a.m. Book of Earth. Strategy is the craft of the warrior. Commanders must enter the craft. Troopers should know this way. There is no warrior in the world today who really understands the way of strategy. There are various ways. This is the way of salvation by the law of Buddha, the way of Confucius governing by the way of learning, the way of healing as a doctor, as a poet teaching the way of waka, tea, archery, and many arts and skills. Each man practices as he feels inclined. It is said that the warrior's is the twofold way of pen and sword, and he should have a taste for both ways. Even if a man has no natural ability, he can be a warrior by sticking assiduously to both divisions of the way. Generally speaking, the way of the warrior is resolute acceptance of death. Although not only warriors but priests, women, peasants, and lowlier folk have been known to die readily in the cause of duty or out of shame, this is a different thing. The warrior is different in that studying the way of strategy is based on overcoming men. By victory gained in crossing swords with individuals, or in joining battle with large numbers, we attain power and fame for ourselves or for our Lord. This is the virtue of strategy. The way of strategy. In China and Japan, practitioners of the way have been known as masters of strategy. Warriors must learn this way. Recently, there have been people getting on in the world as strategists, but they are usually just sword fencers. The attendants of the Kashima Kantori shrines of the province of Hitachi received instruction from the gods and made schools based on this teaching, traveling from country to country instructing men. This is the recent meaning of strategy. In olden times, strategy was listed among the 10 abilities and 7 arts as a beneficial practice. It was certainly an art, but as a beneficial practice, it was not limited to sword fencing. The true value of sword fencing cannot be seen within the confines of sword fencing technique. If we look at the world, we see arts for sale. Men use equipment to sell their own selves. As if with the nut and the flower, the nut has to become less than the flower. In this way of strategy, Both those teaching and those learning the way are concerned with coloring and showing off their technique, trying to hasten the bloom of the flower. They speak of this dojo, that dojo. They are looking for profit. Someone once said, immature strategy is the cause of grief. That was a true saying. There are 4 ways in which men pass through life. As gentlemen, farmers, artisans, and merchants. The way of the farmer, using agricultural instruments, bring through the autumn with an eye on the changes of the season. The second is the way of the merchant. Winemaker obtains ingredients and puts them to use to make his living. The way of the merchant is always to live by taking profit. This is the way of the merchant. Thirdly, the gentleman warrior, carrying the weaponry of his way. The way of the warrior is to master the virtue of his weapons, so must he not have a little taste for this? Fourthly, the way of the artisan. The way of the carpenter is to become proficient in the use of his tools. First to lay his plans with true measure and then perform his work according to plan. Thus he passes through life. These are the 4 ways of the gentleman, the farmer, the artisan, and the merchant. Comparing the way of the carpenter to strategy. The comparison with carpentry is through the connection with houses. Houses of the nobility, houses of warriors, 4 houses, ruin of houses, thriving of houses, the style of the house, the condition of the house, and the name of the house. The carpenter uses the master plan of the building. The way of strategy is similar in that there is a plan of campaign. If you want to learn the craft of war, ponder over this book. The teacher is as a needle, the disciple is as thread. You must practice constantly. Like the foreman carpenter, the commander must know natural rules, and the rules of the country, and the rules of houses. This is the way of the foreman. The foreman carpenter must know the architectural theory of towers and temples, and the plans of palaces, and must employ men to raise up houses. The way of the foreman carpenter is the same as the way of the commander of a warrior force. In the construction of houses, choice of woods is made. Straight, unknotted timber of good appearance is used for the revealed pillars. Straight timber with small defects is used for the inner pillars. Timber of the finest appearance, even if a little weak, is used for the thresholds, lintels, and doors, and sliding doors, and so on. Good strong timber, though it be gnarled and knotted, can always be used discreetly in construction. Timber which is weak or knotted throughout should be used as scaffolding, and then later for firewood. The foreman carpenter allots his men work according to their ability. Floor layers, makers of sliding doors, thresholds and lintels, ceilings, and so on. Those of poor ability lay the floor joists, and those of lesser ability carve wedges, and do such miscellaneous work. If the foreman knows and deploys his men well, the finished work will be good. The foreman should take into account the abilities and limitations of his men, circulating among them and asking nothing unreasonable. He should know their morale and spirit, and encourage them where necessary. This is the same as the principle of strategy. The way of strategy. Like a trooper, the carpenter sharpens his own tools. He carries his equipment in his toolbox, and works under the direction of his foreman. He makes columns and girders with an axe, shapes floorboards and shelves with a plane. He cuts fine openwork and carvings accurately, giving as excellent a finish as his skill will allow. This is the craft of carpenters. When the carpenter becomes skilled and understands measures, he can become a foreman. The carpenter's attainment is, having tools which will cut well, to make small shrines, writing shelves, tables, paper lanterns, chopping boards, and pot lids. These are the specialities of the carpenter.
Yes, dear. Oh, don't tell me. Hold on. What is...
They tell me bones. He wants ribs, right?
Fuck.
But they're bones. If I'm bones. Yeah, they're bones, exactly. I try to tell you, babe, there's bones up there. There's no ribs. They got no meat on the bones. But Facebook about it, but I don't know why they did that. Yeah, they shot. I know they shot Michael Gold. What are they doing?
Babe.
What?
Find me a decent steak that you can cut into strips and just make me some boneless barbecue, please.
Baby, I told you I wasn't lying. They got bones.
Did you
up
hear
here,
what I said, boo?
So what you want me to do? Put bones on this? Like, you want?
I just told you what to do. It don't gotta be no fucking ribs. Just get some kind of steak or some beef, cut it into strips, and barbecue that shit.
They up here trying to bone. Babe, like, that's some crazy shit.
Yeah, I'm streaming, babe. You made me die. And I'm fucking streaming, so now my music not playing in the background and stuff.
What happened to me? Anyway, I just wanted to prove a point that I told you I wasn't lying.
Okay, baby.
Things are similar for the trooper. You ought to think deeply about this.
Yeah.
The attainment of the carpenter is that his work is not warped, the joints are not misaligned, and that the work is truly planned so that it will meet well and is not merely finished in sections. This is essential. If you want to learn this way, deeply consider the things written in this book, one at a time. You must do sufficient research.
Oh, you see those large, heavily armed men? They suspect you have killed their leader. Have they watched your head?
Oui.
Oh, that's it. That was...
Outline of the 5 books of this book of strategy. The way is shown in 5 books concerning different aspects. These are earth, water, fire, wind, and void. The body of the way of strategy from the viewpoint of my Ichi school is explained in the earth book. It is difficult to realize the true way just through sword fencing. Know the smallest things and the biggest things, the shallowest things and the deepest things. As if it were a straight road mapped out on the ground. The first book is called the Earth Book. The second is the Water Book. With water as the basis, spirit becomes like water. Water adopts the shape of its receptacle. It is sometimes a trickle, sometimes a wild sea. Water has a clear blue color. By the clarity, things of Ichi school are shown in this book. If you master the principles of sword fencing, when you freely beat one man, you beat any man in the world. The spirit of defeating a man is the same for 10 million men. The strategist makes small things into big things, like building a great Buddha from 1-foot model. I cannot write in detail how this is done. The principle of strategy is having one thing to know 10,000 things. Things of Ichi school are written in this, the Water Book. The third is the Fire Book. This book is about fighting. The spirit of fire is fierce. Whether the fire be small or big, and so it is with battles. The way of battles is the same for man-to-man fights, and for 10,000 aside battles. You must appreciate the spirit can become big or small. What is big is easy to perceive. What is small is difficult to perceive. In short, it is difficult for large numbers of men to change position, so their movements can be easily predicted. An individual can easily change his mind, so his movements are difficult to predict. You must appreciate this. The essence of this book is that you must train night and day in order to make quick decisions. In strategy, it is necessary to treat training as a part of normal life, with your spirit unchanging. Thus, combat in battle is described in the Fire Book. Fourthly, the Wind Book. This book is not concerned with my Ichi school, but with other schools of strategy. By wind, I mean old traditions, present-day traditions, and family traditions of strategy. Thus, I clearly explain the strategies of the world. This is tradition. It is difficult to know yourself if you do not know others. To all ways there are side tracks. If you study a way daily, and your spirit diverges, you may think you are obeying a good way, but objectively it is not the true way. If you are following the true way and diverge a little, this will later become a large divergence. You must realize this. Other strategies have come to be thought of as merely sword fencing, and it is not unreasonable that this should be so. The benefit of my strategy, although it includes sword fencing, lies in a separate principle. I have explained what is commonly meant by strategy in other schools in the tradition (wind book). Fifthly, the Book of the Void. By void, I mean that which has no beginning and no end. Attaining this principle means not attaining the principle. The way of strategy is the way of nature. When you appreciate the power of nature, knowing the rhythm of any situation, be able to hit the enemy naturally and strike naturally. All of this is the way of the void. I intend to show how to follow the true way according to nature in the Book of the Void. The name Ichi Ryu Ni To, one school, two schools. Warriors, both commanders and troopers, carried two swords at their belts. In olden times, these were called the long sword and the sword. Now they are known as the sword and the companion sword. Let it suffice to say that in our land, whatever the reason, a warrior carries two swords at his belt. It is the way of the warrior. Nito Ichi Ryu shows the advantage of using both swords. The spear and the halberd are both weapons that are carried out of doors. Students of the Ichi school way of strategy should train from the start with the sword and the long sword in either hand. This is the truth. When you sacrifice your life, you must make fullest use of your weapon. It is false not to do so, and to die with a weapon yet undrawn. If you hold a sword with both hands, it is difficult to wield it freely to left and right. So my method is to carry the sword in one hand. This does not apply to large weapons, such as the spear or halberd, but to swords and companion swords that can be carried in one hand. It is encumbering to hold a sword with both hands when you're on horseback, when running on uneven roads, on swampy ground, muddy rice fields, stony ground, or in a crowd of people. To hold the long sword in both hands is not the true way, for if you carry a bow or spear or other arms in your left hand, you have only one hand free for the long sword. However, when it is difficult to cut an enemy down with one hand, you must use both hands. It is not difficult to wield a sword in one hand. The way to learn this is to train with two long swords, one in each hand. It will seem difficult at first, but everything is difficult at first. Bows are difficult to draw, halberds are difficult to wield. As you become accustomed to the bow, so your pull will become stronger. When you become used to wielding the long sword, you will gain the power of the way to wield the sword well. As I will explain in the second book, the Water Book, there is no fast way of wielding the long sword. The long sword should be wielded broadly, and the companion sword closely. This is the first thing to realize. According to this Ichi school, you can win with a long weapon, and yet you can also win with a short weapon. In short, the way of the Ichi school is the spirit of winning, whatever the weapon and whatever the size. It is better to use two swords rather than one when you are fighting a crowd, and especially if you want to take a prisoner. These things cannot be explained in detail. From one thing know 10,000 things. When you attain the way of strategy, there will not be one thing you cannot see. You must study hard. The benefits of the two characters reading strategy.
What's up, guys? It's Big Brown. We're here today during the big game week
To rip some packs and check out boxing.
Yeah, let's go.
Masters of the long sword are called strategists. As for other military arts, those who master the bow are called archers. Those who master the spear are called spearmen. Those who master the gun are called marksmen. Those who master the halberd are called halberdiers. But we do not call masters of the way of the longsword long swordsmen, nor do we speak of companion swordsmen, because bows, guns, spears, and halberds are all warriors' equipment. They are certainly part of strategy. To master the virtue of the longsword is to govern the world and oneself. Thus, the longsword is the basis of strategy. The principle is strategy by means of the longsword. If he attains the virtue of the longsword, one man can beat 10 men. Just as one man can beat 10, so 100 men can beat 1,000, and 1,000 men can beat 10,000. In my strategy, one man is the same as 10,000, so this strategy is the complete warrior's craft. The way of the warrior does not include other ways, such as Confucianism, Buddhism, certain traditions, artistic accomplishments, and dancing. But even though these are not part of the way, if you know the way, broadly you will see it in everything. Men must follow their particular way. The benefit of weapons in strategy. There is a time and a place for use of weapons. The best use of the companion sword is in a confined space, or when you're engaged closely with an opponent. The long sword can be used effectively in all situations. The halberd is inferior to the spear on the battlefield. With the spear you can take the initiative. The halberd is defensive. In the hands of one or two men of equal ability, the spear gives a little extra strength. The spear and halberd both have their uses, but neither is very beneficial in confined spaces. They cannot be used for taking a prisoner. They are essentially weapons for the field. Anyways, if you learn indoor techniques, you will think narrowly and forget the true way. Thus, you will have difficulty in actual encounters. The bow is tactically strong at the commencement of battle. However, battles are more, as it is possible to shoot quickly from among the spin. However, it is unsatisfactory in sieges, or when the enemy is more than 40 yards away. For this reason, there are nowadays few traditional schools of archery, and there is little use nowadays for this kind of skill. From inside fortifications, the gun has no equal among weapons. It is the supreme weapon on the field before the ranks clash. But once the swords are crossed, the gun becomes useless. One of the virtues of the bow is that you can see the arrows in flight and correct your aim accordingly, whereas gunshots cannot be seen. You must appreciate the importance of this. Just as a horse must have endurance and no defects, so it is with weapons. Horses should walk strongly. Swords and companion swords should cut strongly. Spears and halberds must stand up to heavy use. Bows and guns must be sturdy. Weapons should be hardy rather than decorative. You should not have a favorite weapon. To become over-familiar with one weapon is as much a fault as not knowing it sufficiently well. You should not copy others and use weapons which you can handle properly. It is bad for commanders and troops to have likes and dislikes. These are things you must learn thoroughly. Timing in strategy. There is timing in everything. Timing in strategy cannot be mastered without a great deal of patience. Timing is important in dancing and pipe or string music, for they are in rhythm only if timing is good. Timing and rhythm are also involved in the military arts, shooting bows and guns and riding horses. In all skills and abilities, there is timing. There is also timing in the void. There is timing in the whole life of the warrior. In his thriving and declining, in his harmony and discord. Similarly, there is timing in the way of the merchant, in the rise and fall of capital. All things entail rising and fall in timing. You must be able to distinguish. In strategy, there are various timing considerations. From the outset, you must know the applicable timing and inapplicable timing, and from among the large and small things, and the fast and slow timings, find the relevant timing, first seeing the distance timing and the background timing. This is the main thing in strategy. It will be especially important to know the background timing, Otherwise, your strategy will become uncertain. You will win in battles with the timing in the void, born of the timing of cunning, by knowing the enemy's timing, and this using a timing which the enemy does not expect. All of the 5 books are chiefly concerned with this timing. You must train sufficiently to appreciate all of this. If you practice day and night in the above Ichi school strategy, your spirit will naturally broaden. Thus is a large-scale strategy, and the strategy of hand-to-hand combat, propagated in the world. This is recorded for the first time in the 5 books of Earth, Water, Fire, and Wind, and Void. This is the way for men who want to learn my strategy. Do not think dishonestly. The way is in training. Become acquainted with every art. Know the ways of all professions. Distinguish between gain and loss in worldly matters. Develop intuitive judgment and understanding for everything. Perceive those things which cannot be seen. Pay attention even to trifles. Do nothing which is of no use. It is important to start by setting these broad principles in your heart and train in the way of strategy. If you do not look at these things on a large scale, it will be difficult for you to master strategy. If you learn and attain this strategy, you will never lose, even to 20 or 30 enemies. More than anything, to start with, you must set your heart on strategy and earnestly stick to the way. You will come to be able to actually beat men in fights, and to be able to win with your eye. Also, by training, you'll be able to freely control your own body, conquer men with your body, and with sufficient training, you'll be able to beat 10 men with your spirit. When you have reached this point, will it not mean that you are invincible? Moreover, in the large-scale strategy, the superior man will manage many subordinates dexterously, bear himself correctly, govern the country and foster its people, thus preserving the ruler's discipline. If there is a way involving the spirit of not being defeated, to help oneself and gain honor, it is the way of strategy. The second year of Shoho, 1645, the 5th month, the 12th day.
You deliver with DoorDash, you get to choose when you do it and when you don't.
Okay, I think I'll do it now.
Now works.
The Water Book. The spirit of Ni Ten Ichi School strategy is based on water, and this water book explains the method of victory as the long sword form of the Ichi school. Language does not extend to explaining the way in detail, but it can be grasped intuitively. Study this book, read a word, then ponder on it. If you interpret the meaning loosely, you will mistake the way. Principles of strategy are written down here in terms of simple combat, but you must think broadly so that you attain an understanding for 10,000 aside battles. Strategy is different from other things, in that if you mistake the way even a little, you will become bewildered and fall into bad ways. If you merely read this book, you will not reach the way of strategy. Absorb the things written in this book. Do not just read, memorize, or imitate, but so that you may realize the principle from within your own heart, study hard to absorb these things into your body. Spiritual bearing in strategy. In strategy, your spiritual bearing must not be any different from normal. Both in fighting and in everyday life, you should be determined through calm. Meet the situation without tenseness, yet not recklessly. Your spirit settled, yet unbiased. Even when your spirit is calm, do not let your body relax. And when your body is relaxed, do not let your spirit slacken. Do not let your spirit be influenced by your body, or your body influenced by your spirit. Be neither insufficiently spirited, nor overly spirited. An elevated spirit is weak, and a low spirit is weak. Do not let the enemy see your spirit. Small people must be completely familiar with the spirit of large people, and large people must be familiar with the spirit of small people. Whatever your size, do not be misled by the reactions of your own body. With your spirit open and unconstricted, look at things from a high point of view. You must cultivate your wisdom and spirit. Polish your wisdom. Learn public justice. Distinguish between good and evil. Study the ways of different arts one by one. When you cannot be deceived by men, you will have realized the wisdom of strategy. The wisdom of strategy is different from other things. On the battlefield, even when you are hard-pressed, you should ceaselessly research the principles of strategy so that you can develop a steady spirit. Stance in strategy. Adopt a stance with the head erect, neither hanging down nor looking up, nor twisted. Your forehead and the space between your eyes should not be wrinkled. Do not roll your eyes or allow them to blink, but slightly narrow them. With your features composed, keep the line of your nose straight, with a feeling of slightly flaring your nostrils. Hold the line of the rear of your neck straight. Instill vigor into your hairline, in the same way from the shoulders down through your entire body. Lower both shoulders, and without the buttocks jutting out, put strength into your legs from the knees to the tops of your toes. Brace your abdomen, so you do not bend at the hips. Wedge your companion sword in your belt against your abdomen, so the belt is not slack. This is called wedging in. In all forms of strategy, it is necessary to maintain the combat stance in everyday life, and to make your everyday stance your combat stance. You must research this well. The gaze in strategy. The gaze should be large and broad. This is the twofold gaze, perception and sight. Perception is strong and sight is weak. In strategy, it is important to see distant things as if they were close, and to take a distance view of close things. It is important in strategy to know the enemy's sword, and not be distracted by insignificant movements of his sword. You must study this. The gaze is the same for single combat and for large-scale combat. It is necessary in strategy to be able to look to both sides without moving the eyeballs. You cannot master this ability quickly. Learn what is written here. Use this gaze in everyday life, and do not vary it, whatever happens. Holding the longsword. Grip the longsword with a rather floating feeling in your thumb and forefinger, with the middle finger neither tight nor slack, and with the last two fingers tight. It is bound to have play in your hands. When you take up the sword, you must feel intent on cutting the enemy. As you cut an enemy, you must not change your grip, and your hands must not cower. When you dash the enemy's sword aside, or ward it off, or force it down, you must slightly change the feeling in your thumb and forefinger. Above all, you must be intent on cutting the enemy in the way you grip your sword. The grip for combat and for sword testing is the same. There is no such thing as a man-cutting grip. Generally, I dislike fixedness in both long swords and hands. Fixedness means a dead hand. Pliability is a living hand. You must bear this in mind. Footwork. With the tips of your toes somewhat floating, tread firmly with your heels. Whether you move fast or slow, with large or small steps, your feet must always move as in normal walking. Dislike the three walking methods known as jumping foot, floating foot, and fixed steps. So-called yin-yang foot is important to the way. Yin-yang foot means not moving only one foot. It means moving your feet left-right and right-left when cutting, withdrawing, or warding off a cut. You should not move one foot preferentially. The 5 attitudes. The 5 attitudes are upper, middle, lower, right side, and left side. These are the 5. Although attitude has these 5 dimensions, the one purpose of them all is to cut the enemy. there are none but these 5 attitudes. Whatever attitude you are in, do not be conscious of making the attitude. Think only of cutting. Your attitude should be large or small, according to the situation. Upper, lower, and middle attitudes are decisive. Left side and right side attitudes are fluid. Left and right attitudes should be used if there is an obstruction overhead or to one side. The decision to use left or right depends on the place. The essence of the way is this. To understand attitude, you must thoroughly understand the middle attitude. The middle attitude is the heart of the attitudes. If we look at a strategy on a broad scale, the middle attitude is the seat of the commander, with the other 4 attitudes following the commander. You must appreciate this. The way of the longsword. Knowing the way of the longsword means we can wield with 2 fingers the sword we usually carry. If we know the path of the sword well, we can wield it easily. If you try to wield the longsword quickly, you will mistake the way. To wield the longsword well, you must wield it calmly. If you try to wield it quickly, like a folding fan or a short sword, you will err by using short sword chopping. You cannot cut a man with a long sword using this method. When you have cut downwards with the long sword, lift it straight upwards. When you cut sideways, return the sword along the sideways path. Return the sword in a reasonable way, always stretching the elbows broadly. Wield the sword strongly. This is the way of the sword. If you learn to use the 5 approaches of my strategy, you will be able to wield the sword well. You must train constantly. The 5 approaches. The first approach is the middle attitude. Confront the enemy with the point of your sword against his face. When he attacks, dash his sword to the right and ride it. Or, when the enemy attacks, deflect the point of his sword by hitting downwards. Keep your long sword where it is, and as the enemy renews the attack, cut his arms from below. This is the first method. The 5 approaches are this kind of thing. You must train repeatedly using a long sword in order to learn them. When you master my way of the long sword, you'll be able to control any attack the enemy makes. I assure you, there are no attitudes other than the 5 attitudes of the longsword of Mordhau. In the second approach with the longsword, from the upper attitude, cut the enemy just as he attacks. If the enemy evades the cut,
gotta take care of the sun real quick.
And, scooping from below, cut him as he renews the attack. It is possible to repeat the cut from here. In this method, there are various changes in timing and spirit. You will be able to understand this by training in the Ichi school. You will always win with the 5 longsword methods. You must train repeatedly. In the third approach, adopt the lower attitude, anticipating scooping up. When the enemy attacks, hit his hands from below. As you do so, he may try to hit your sword down. If this is the case, cut his upper arms horizontally with a feeling of crossing. This means that from the lower attitudes, you hit the enemy at the instant that he attacks. You will encounter this method often, both as a beginner and in later strategy. You must train holding a long sword. In the fourth approach, adopt the left side attitude. As the enemy attacks, hit his hands from below. If, as you hit his hands, he attempts to dash down your sword, with the feeling of hitting his hands, carry the path of his long sword and cut across the front of your shoulder. This is the way of the long sword. Through this method, you win by parrying the line of the enemy's attack. You must study this. In the fifth approach, the sword is in the right side attitude. In accordance with the enemy's attack, cross your sword from below at the side, the upper attitude, then cut straight from above. This method is essential for knowing the way of the longsword man. If you can use this method, you can freely wield a heavy longsword. I cannot describe in detail how to use these 5 approaches. You must become well acquainted with my In Harmony with the Longsword way, learn large-scale timing, and understand the enemy's longsword, and become used to the 5 approaches from the outset. You will always win by using these 5 methods, with various timing considerations discerning the enemy's spirit. You must consider all of this carefully. The attitude, no attitude teach you. Attitude, no attitude means there is no need for what are known as longsword attitudes. Even so, attitudes exist as the 5 ways of holding the longsword. However you hold the sword, it must be in such a way that it is easy to cut the enemy well, in accordance with the situation, the place, and your relation to the enemy. From the upper attitude, as your spirit lessens, you can adopt the middle attitude, and from the middle attitude, you can raise the sword a little in your technique and adopt the upper attitude. From the lower attitude, you can raise the sword a little and adopt the middle attitudes as the occasion demands. According to the situation, if you turn your sword from either the left side or the right side attitude towards the center, the middle or lower attitude results. The principle of this is called existing attitude, non-existing attitude. The primary thing when you take a sword in your hands is your intention to cut the enemy, whatever the means. Whenever you parry, hit, spring, strike, or touch the enemy's cutting sword, you must cut the enemy in the same movement. It is essential to attain this. If you think only of hitting, springing, striking, or touching the enemy, you will not be able to actually cut him. More than anything, you must be thinking of carrying your movements through to cutting him. You must thoroughly research this. Attitude and strategy on a larger scale is called battle array. Such attitudes are all for winning battles. Fixed formation is bad. Study this well. To hit the enemy in one timing. In one timing means, when you have closed with the enemy, to hit him as quickly and directly as possible, without moving your body or settling your spirit, while you see that he is still undecided. The timing of hitting before the enemy decides to withdraw, break, or hit, this is called one timing. You must train to achieve this timing, to be able to hit in the timing of an instant. The abdomen timing of 2. When you attack and the enemy quickly retreats, as you see him tense, you must feint a cut. Then, as he relaxes, follow up and hit him. This is the abdomen timing of 2. It is very difficult to attain this merely by reading this book, but you will soon understand with a little instruction.
GTA 5 and GTA 5 RP are pretty different. GTA 5 RP has real cars that are dope. Normal GTA, well, doesn't. GTA 5 RP has real cops. GTA 5 doesn't. GTA 5 RP has other people you can talk to and hang out with. GTA 5 doesn't. GTA 5 RP...
No design, no conception. In this method, when the enemy attacks and you decide to attack, hit with your body and hit with your spirit, and hit from the void with your hands, accelerating strongly. This is the no design, no conception cut. This is the most important method of hitting. It is often used. You must train hard to understand it. The flowing water cut. The flowing water cut is used when you are struggling blade to blade with the enemy. When he breaks and quickly withdraws trying to spring with his long sword, expand your body and spirit, and cut him as slowly as possible with your long sword, following your body like stagnant water. You can cut with certainty if you learn it. You must discern the enemy's grade. The continuous cut. When you attack and the enemy also attacks, and your swords spring together in one action, cut his head, hands, and legs. When you cut several places with one sweep of the longsword, it is called the continuous cut. You must practice this cut, as it is often used. With detailed practice, you should be able to understand it. The fire and stones cut. The fire and stones cut means that when the enemy's longsword and your longsword crash together, you cut as strongly as possible